Back here on Radio Row, it is Super Bowl 47 between the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. Now I'm joined here by a man that did win a Super Bowl in New Orleans, and that is Ted Johnson. Ted, Zach Gelb here. Great to see you. How are you?
Zach. I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great myself. So take me back to when you come in here and you win that Super Bowl in 2001. When you came into New Orleans and win, what was that memory like?
Oh, it was awesome. You know what I remember? There's a lot of things I remember about that game, Zach. That was 2001 was the same year 9/11 happened, okay? So
did you feel like you were America's team that year?
I think I absolutely felt that. It just seemed to be we were the kind of the underdog role, came out of nowhere. We were, everything about us was we were a team, next man up. I mean, that all started in New England that season. Drew Bledsoe goes down in week 3. Mo Lewis knocks him out. Tom Brady comes in, and the rest, as they say, is history. We came in here, we were 14-point underdogs. We were playing, the Rams, the greatest show on turf, and, really everybody was counting us out. But the thing about it is we played the Rams earlier that season, Zach, and we lost to them by a touchdown at our place in Foxborough.
But you made a statement that game.
We did. You know what? It's funny. I mean, you can still learn things even in losses, and we felt, you know what? We can hang with these guys. We tweak a thing here, tweak a thing there, and that's what we did. So the next time we had a chance to play them, we knew, man, not everybody else knew, but we knew that we were more than capable of winning that game, and we were introduced as a team. So we came out, and I'm telling you, man, when you look at the Rams and you see their faces on the other side, they're like, oh, it's going to be a long day. They knew that was pretty cool what we just did. And we took it to him. We let him back in late, but then, Adam Vinatieri, my man, the Iceman, Adam Vinatieri, sealed it with his kick at the end of the game.
And your defense made a statement that day. You guys showed that you were one of the best in the league. Take me back to that Ty Law interception that went to the house.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. We had players on that team, Zach, on defense. People don't realize it was a good defense. I wouldn't say a great defense. We were a very good situationally on defense, good red zone, third down. We knew we were smart, a smart football team. We had playmakers, Ty Law, Lawyer Malloy, Willie McGinnis, Ted Johnson, Teddy Bruschi. We had a lot of good players, man, and so it was pretty cool, the talent we had. And you know what we did? We knew that Marshall Faulk counted for 50% of their offense. So we were going to make sure we made life hell for him. And you know what? Those receivers did not like to get hit, Zach. They did not. It was all predicated, the success in their passing, it was all predicated on getting receivers into the routes fast. And so, in 2001, you could get your hands on those guys. And we got up there, we hit them, we made life miserable for them, and it really threw off the timing of him and Kurt Warner. The receivers in Kurt Warner, and so we were able to capitalize on that.
I was watching NFL Films the other day, and they have Ricky Prohl before the game, and they go, tonight a dynasty is born. And it's quite ironic because you guys were a dynasty, but it wasn't the way that he meant it.
Wow, yeah. And we, look what they've done in there in New England. Pretty impressive. I think 5 out of the last 10 years prior to this, the Patriots have gone to the Super Bowl, and we've won 3 of those 5. But, when you put a coach with a quarterback like that, and here's the thing, how you get Super Bowl championships and you get a dynasty, you have terrific players coming together with terrific coaching. And we had, Belichick is a phenomenal coach in the sense he sees the game in ways he explained football to me in ways I never thought I'd ever learn. But then he also had a great quarterback in Tom Brady. But we also had playmakers on defense, too. And so all that mixed together equals a dynasty.
You want to win a Super Bowl? One word, clutch. That defense was clutch. Yeah. The quarterback was clutch. He went on 2 game-winning drives in the first 2 Super Bowls that he's won. And right. Even if you're looking back to that regular season, and it wasn't in the 0-1 season, I think it was either 0-3 or 0-4, Indianapolis Colts, you're in their stadium, goal line stand. They had 1 yard to get 1 yard. 4 times.
Fourth down, yeah.
And Willie McGinnis, so he was faking a little bit of injuries. Let's not lie there.
Oh, you remember that?
But that was a clutch defense.
Yeah, that was big, man. I was out there for that play, and you know what? That was what made that play successful? We saw on the film what they like to do. And anytime they were inside the 2-yard line, Peyton Manning is under center. The home is in what we call the home position right behind the quarterback. They like to run it. Willie completely left his responsibility, which was to get a jam on the slot receiver. I believe it was, I want to say Brandon Stokely maybe was the slot receiver. He saw something along with me, and I'm telling my defensive tackle, I see Willie, we're all yelling, run right here. We knew it, and that was a huge play, man. Those were great. Those were great rivalries. Those Colts and the Patriots, and early on in the early 2000s, we were getting the better of them. Peyton Manning later in that decade started getting the better of the Patriots, but an awesome rivalry.
And going back to that drive where you guys stopped the Colts to get that victory, you hear all these names: Bruschi, Vrabel, Law, Harrison, all great players. Ted Johnson, as we're talking to Ted Johnson on Radio Row. But one guy that I felt never got the proper credit, and I know he wasn't there from the start, was Ted Washington.
Oh, Big Ted. He's awesome.
He's awesome.
He was the best, man. Zach, he was the best, bro. He was a monster of a nose tackle.
He reminds me a lot of Wilfork, except Wilfork's a little bit more athletic.
Yeah, but Ted, Ted's a lot bigger, though. People say how big Wilfork is. Yeah, but Ted Washington.
How much did Washington weigh? If you had to put an estimation on it.
Man, he was sensitive about that, too. I would say close to 400 pounds. 380.
400 pounds.
I would say at least 380.
So no one on the team was able to, outlift him or anything.
No, this was the biggest player by far that I've ever played with, okay? Seymour was big. Willie McGinnis is one of the bigger guys, Zach. But I thought Ted Washington, man, what I said was he bends over to get in a three-point stand. You could you could watch a movie on his ass. I mean, it's just that big of a man he is. He's a huge man. So good at what he did, keeping guys. He kept me clean. I was able to run, and flow over the top with no problem. It's a good guy you mentioned, because to me he was one of the best I ever played with.
Let's get to Sunday. As a former linebacker in this league, you see Patrick Willis, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs. This has to excite you. Yeah,
great linebacking core on both sides. I think the edge in that goes. So, look, Terrell Suggs, Paul Kruger, Donnell Ellaby, Ray Lewis are all good linebackers. There's no question about it. But I think complete package, the 49ers got what it takes. Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman, they can cover guys. They can leave the core, meaning between the tackles. If they got to go cover a guy out in the slot, they can. But you want to put Patrick Willis on Tony Gonzalez, no problem. You want to put you want to put Ray Rice in the slot. Dennis Pitta in the slot. Put them anywhere you want. Those guys have no problem covering. That's the thing. Those four linebackers for the 49ers never come off the field. All right? On the other side, I think at the end of the day, Zach, I think Ray Lewis is going to be a liability. I think he's going to be a liability.
Because Kaepernick could spread out that defense.
They're going to spread him out. Okay, and hey, everybody's talking about how many tackles he's had, but they're not impact plays. They're more like, they're not across the line of scrimmage. They're tackles down the field. I think, honestly, I see the 49ers spreading them out and getting Ray Lewis matched one-on-one with Vernon Davis, Delaney Walker, those kinds of guys. And I think the 49ers are going to exploit that matchup.
If you were in that Ravens locker room, how would you be planning to contain Kaepernick? Because 200 rushing yards in that Green Bay Packers game, the kid's absolutely phenomenal, and he wasn't even the starter at the beginning of the year.
Man, that's a good question. I would not play him how the Green Bay Packers played him, Zach. The Green Bay Packers decided to play man-to-man all day. Play zone, all right? So your backs aren't turned to Colin Kaepernick, all right? And you know what? The key part, I think, is stopping Kaepernick is going to be Terrell Suggs. It's going to be Ray Lewis. It's going to be Paul Kruger. And it's going to be Donnell Ellaby. And it's going to be up to the linebackers to make sure that Kaepernick doesn't beat you on the perimeter running the game. The Falcons did a great job making sure he didn't do that. But the middle linebackers didn't press the line of scrimmage, so Frank Gore was creasing them all day. You have to build a wall, play downhill if you're a middle linebacker, take the Frank Gore option out of it, and make sure Colin Kaepernick doesn't hurt you on the perimeter as well. So I think it's going to be the linebackers for the Ravens are going to be, to me, the most important unit in this game. If they can get things done, they might have a chance. Otherwise, I see the 49ers running away with this.
Final one here is Ted Johnson joins us on Radio Row, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. When you look at Ray Lewis, a lot of negative comes out of it from what happened down over a decade ago, and then you see the run that he's on right now. People are weighing both sides of the argument. How do you remember Ray Lewis?
You know what, Zach? I have to just trust that the judicial system knows what it's doing, that justice was served. So I look at it. Look, I'm just going to look at him as a football player, the best that ever played that position. The best that ever played middle linebacker, hands down. Dick Butkus, I didn't see him play. Look, I know he was a great player. But Ray Lewis did for 17 years at the level he did. He was an impact player, Zach. He was a guy who could run downhill, make plays across the line of scrimmage, strip sacks, fumbles, interceptions returned for touchdowns. He had the whole thing. He never came off the field. That's a rarity these days. You don't see linebackers, particularly middle linebackers, that are out there the whole time like he is. He did it for such a high level for so long. I'm just going to remember him as being the best to ever play that position, Zach. I don't really will ever attach what happened in Atlanta to his legacy. Some people will. I won't.
Before we let you go, last one here from me, and I know this is very close to you because you've had some struggles after post-retirement, and we talked about this last time you were on the show more in depth. Tell me a little bit more about your situation and what players need to do once they retire to make sure they don't go down a wrong path.
Yeah, I retired because of concussions. My head hurt. I knew I couldn't play the game at the level I wanted to play, and that's the way it was, and that was in 2005, the summer 2005. Now guys know, there's, what I get all the time, Zach? Hey, Ted, you know the risk. Come on, man. I didn't know at the end of the day, no one ever told me that being multiply concussed could potentially, not will, but there's a chance it could lead to brain disease. And the brain disease that we are now linking to athletes that have been multiple concussed is CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. So that's the real deal now, okay? We did not know that. Now they know that. And so now the guys are fully informed. They can go make educated decisions. If they want to put themselves out there, at least they have all the information. My struggles afterwards was I was trying to find relief for the side effects I was feeling from concussions. If it was the cognitive deficiencies, it was the behavioral issues I was feeling. And so, yeah, I went down a dark road. I cleaned up. I got help. I live a very diligent life. I eat right, I exercise, I get my sleep. If there's a med protocol to treat whatever the side effect, the symptoms are, I do that, and I'm doing much, much better. So, you hope the more people talk about it, it takes away the shame of it. You know what? A lot of guys feel, concussions they call it the invisible injury, so it's a very shame-based thing because you can't see it, Zach. We can all identify with a cast, a cane, crutches, that kind of stuff, but no one can see the damage that's done in your brain, so it's a very shame-based piece. We need to take that shame away and let guys know it's okay to ask for help.
Three-time Super Bowl champion, played in 4 Super Bowls. That is Ted Johnson. Now he is a radio superstar. By the way, producer of this show.
I don't know about that.
Good friend of Eric Spitz. They got to get him on the air more at CBS Sports Network.
You know what? I'm grateful for the opportunity Eric has given me. I'll start slow, buddy. I'll start with my Sunday night show for 4 hours and see where it goes.
It's great to see you. I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Zach.